Okay, so really interesting things happening with the PlayStation 5 Slim. By interesting, I mean that it is available in the US and I think Japan now. I think Alex O'Neill posted a picture
It might
of
be,
the
yeah,
unit in
because it's
Japan,
out now. Yeah.
unless he got it in America, but who knows? It's quite interesting because in the US it's being bundled with Modern Warfare 3. There's a special MW3 bundle, but in the UK and I suspect in Europe, that same bundle uses the existing 1200 series PlayStation 5. It's not the new Slim model. So we haven't actually seen it yet. Sony UK on radio silence, which is great. And we have seen some teardowns, though. Linus did one, and Dave2D did a really, really good one. I was quite impressed with that, which basically answers all of the questions. You know, he tore the whole thing down. We took a look at the system at the motherboard level. It is confirmed now that it is using the same 6 nanometer processor as the 1200 series, right? So there's no real changes to the in terms of efficiency or power draw. It's just a cost reduced, size reduced version of the existing model. I don't really know what more to say about that. Obviously, there's more I/O there in terms of USBs and whatnot. The stand situation remains ludicrous.
Yes.
Those little sort of perspex inserts to make it to go horizontal, or $30 to buy. Basically a bit of plastic that probably cost them
honestly, to me, that gets to the heart of this design. And when you actually see this thing torn apart with the covers off and everything, you realize it is actually very slim now. Indeed. They didn't, I know they want to continue this brand synergy, but they've completely altered the designs of their consoles before.
Yeah.
And I really wish they had gone for something that was less weirdly shaped. Right. I don't think they needed to do that for this machine. Like with where they're at now in terms of like the thickness, they could have done a more traditional looking box. They know people don't like the way this thing looks, even though it's still selling. Well, I will say that the size is definitely appealing in a sense because the original PS5 remains a gigantic beast.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though it shares that same original design, it is the size, the reduction in size is awesome.
Well, some people have been saying that the design makes it look like one of those cheap knockoff consoles that you see on AliExpress.
Actually, and part of that's because of those awful the shiny top plates. Because they have matte plates on the bottom and shiny plates on top. Why would you mix plastics like that?
They did it on the PS4, the original one, of course.
Also stupid.
But that was a that was a better integrated design. It doesn't have that cheap AliExpress look to it, and this really does. And I think actually that what contributes to it is the center part, the black part of the unit down the middle. It's so shiny in a way that does make it look like that AliExpress style plastic. So I don't know, man. It's a weird design.
It doesn't make me think this is like a state of the art console.
But seriously, when you see this without the covers on, like if you look here at this photo in our chat here, he's got it side by side next to the original PS5. It's really freaking slim without those covers.
Why do they have that?
Without the covers, yeah.
They could have done something more with the design to just make it, I don't know, sit in the entertainment system. The fact that they need these little tiny legs to sit horizontally is mind-blowing to me. Like, I just don't, it's wild.
There was some... There was some further confirmation of the internals there. They are not using a standard SSD on the internal drive. It's just a reconfiguration, a reduced amount of higher capacity NAND modules to get that 1 terabyte of storage, which I think is, it's welcome. More storage is always good, right? And yes, the M2 slot definitely is there now, so you can still add in an internal drive, right. And there's no loss of functionality there. And there's been some talk that the acoustics are maybe slightly better. I mean, I think that's one of the big triumphs of this generation for all of the platform holders, is that these consoles are no longer, loud. I mean, Microsoft had it pretty much sorted last gen, but Sony definitely did not. And it's great to see an emphasis on the fact that these things actually do need to be quiet. They've also retained the liquid metal thermal interface, which I thought was quite interesting. I was expecting that to go, but it's still
gonna
there.
Leak out, baby.
Do you remember that movie where it will leak out?
Oh yeah.
And destroy your console. As if, Sony wouldn't have anticipated that.
The liquid metal's coming out of the machine. It's going to destroy everything.
Yeah. I mean, I do still want to take a look at this, but I do suspect that any coverage we do will probably be too little or too late, or too much too late, depending on how we look at it. I do think there are some interesting things to look at in terms of, I don't know, just a sort of overview and power consumption, a closer look at that. But I think it would all still apply to the 1200 series PlayStation 5 as well, which never really got the attention it deserved. The 1100 series, obviously there was that huge sort of Austin Evans video that caused a lot of panic. And there was coverage from Gamers Nexus and whatnot that helped to alleviate some of that panic. But the 1200 series just seemed to appear and nobody really paid it too much attention, even though you did get an actual die shrink. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's that PlayStation 5. What do you want?
The 12 series seems like a great one to get to purchase and hold on to, because it is the die shrink, but it's also doesn't have the limitations of this add-on disk drive, which requires a server to even be activated. So if you had a spare 1200 back there with the disk drive, it's a good feature machine.
I still think that the concept of being able to upgrade your digital edition is good.
I 100% agree. I think the idea is awesome. It's just the fact that you can't buy one. It now needs to be activated online to use it.
It seems,
which is the same problem the Xbox has, and we've been wanting them to fix that. And now Sony's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And so now both consoles have that same DRM problem.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything people want to know about the new PlayStation 5, I could import one. It cost a fortune, but we could take a look at it. We've got the PlayStation Portal coming up soon. Again, no sign of that from Sony at the moment, although I understand the US media have been seeded review samples.
Yeah, they have it for sure.
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious about that. But I think in terms of that particular product, I still think it needed something a bit more than remote play. I don't know whether it's still just remote play or whether there's some sort of custom solution they've integrated, but I guess we're going to find out soon.